Alright, I think we good now. I think I'm good. Baby, check real quick, make sure I'm good. I'm pretty sure I am. I just got back on. Cool, cool. Alright. So, yeah, if you can see those, let me know. But I'll read them off. So we got the the gateway to the spirit world. Let's see. I'm just finding the topic right now. But yeah, we got death and departure, gateway to the spirit world, homecoming, the displaced soul, orientation, transition, placement, the advanced soul, life selection, choosing a new body, rebirth, all kinds of stuff. You good? You can do what you do. I just making sure I'm good. I'll probably be pumping back and forth, but yeah, you can. I ain't hearing nothing. You can. Oh, your stuff ain't gonna be too long. So, let me see. And I'm just letting people get in right now. Peace and love, everybody. We starting off Soul School. All right. I'm just gonna hop in. I think I found one. All right, and I'm gonna play the audio version so we can just listen in and then we can talk about it.
Case Studies of Life Between Lives by Michael Newton, Ph.D. Narrated by Peter. Journey of Souls. Case Studies of Life Between Lives by Michael Newton, Ph.D. Narrated by Peter Berkrot. First edition copyright, 1994. Fifth revised edition copyright, 1996 by Michael Newton. This unabridged audiobook is published by arrangement with Llewellyn Worldwide Limited and was produced in the year 2011 by Tantor Media Incorporated, which holds the copyright thereto. You would know the hidden realm where all souls dwell. The journey's way lies through death's misty fell.
Please stick around.
Within this timeless passage, a guiding light does dance.
Now, if you're just getting in, once again, this is Soul School, right? I'm going to be breaking down everything that you need to know just about anything in general pertaining to the world, the universe, the soul. All those questions that you probably have, I'll probably answer in this series with the Soul School, you know what I mean? Because this is, once again, Michael Newton. This is Journey of Souls that we're going to be going through, and I'm going to be playing, excerpts and you know, about he started interviewing people and doing sessions. He was uh, like a psychotherapist, and hypnotist or whatever, but he would regress people, and he would heal their trauma and stuff like that, by going in their memories and all that stuff and digging deep, in your subconscious and pulling that out, to heal people and help people or whatever. But then he started finding out that, he was finding people in a state where they were in, the spirit realm and, either right after they died or right before they were incarnating into a new life, and then he would be able to talk to their soul while they're up there still and get all this information on what goes on and what happens, what everything looks like, you know, while he had these patients under hypnosis. So, he learned a whole lot and he uh, logged all the information, and wrote a book and everything. And so we're going to go over it.
Lost from conscious memory, but visible in trance. Michael Newton. Introduction. Are you afraid of death? Do you wonder what is going to happen to you after you die? Is it possible you have a spirit which came from somewhere else and will return there after your body dies? Or is this just wishful thinking because you are afraid? It is a paradox that humans, alone of all creatures of the earth, must repress the fear of death in order to lead normal lives. Yet our biological instinct never lets us forget this ultimate danger to our being. As we grow older, the specter of death rises in our consciousness. Even religious people fear death as the end of personhood. Our greatest dread of death brings thoughts about the nothingness of death, which will end all associations with family and friends. Dying makes all our earthly goals seem futile. If death were the end of everything about us, then life indeed would be meaningless. However, some power within us enables humans to conceive of a hereafter and to sense a connection to a higher power and even an eternal soul. If we do actually have a soul, then where does it go after death? Is there really some sort of heaven full of intelligent spirits outside our physical universe? What does it look like? What do we do when we get there? Is there a supreme being in charge of this paradise? These questions are as old as humankind itself.
You can't say that you haven't sat around and thought, okay, yeah, I know the spirit realm exists. Okay, yeah, I know there's different dimensions and stuff like that, but what does it really look like? He answers these questions. I know what I'm trying to, it's it's the real deal. You know what I mean? So let's see. Stick around.
Still remain a mystery to most of us. The true answers to the mystery of life after death remain locked behind a spiritual door for most people. This is because we have built-in amnesia about our soul identity, which on a conscious level aids in the merging of the soul and human brain. In the last few years, the general public has heard about people who temporarily died and then came back to life to tell about seeing a long tunnel, bright lights, and even brief encounters with friendly spirits. But none of these accounts, written in the many books on reincarnation, has ever given us anything more than a glimpse of all there is to know about life after death. This book is an intimate journal about the spirit world. It provides a series of actual case histories which reveal in explicit detail what happens to us when life on earth is over. You will be taken beyond the spiritual tunnel and enter the spirit world itself to learn what transpires for souls before they finally return to earth in another life.
I promise you have nothing
I
to
am
worry
a skeptic
about.
by nature, although it would...
Got nothing to worry about. It's nothing that you should be scared of. It's everything is positive. Everything's good. There's no bad stuff up there. You know what I mean? So for these answers might shock you a little. All the information you'll learn, but it's nothing to be alarmed of. And It's all good stuff.
It will not seem so from the contents of this book. As a counselor and hypnotherapist, I specialize in behavior modification for the treatment of psychological disorders. A large part of my work involves short-term cognitive restructuring with clients by helping them connect thoughts and emotions to promote healthy behavior. Together, we elicit the meaning, function, and consequences of their beliefs, because I take the premise that no mental problem is imaginary. In the early days of my practice, I resisted past life requests from people because of my orientation toward traditional therapy. While I used hypnosis and age regression techniques to determine the origins of disturbing memories and childhood trauma, I felt any attempt to reach a former life was unorthodox and non-clinical. My interest in reincarnation and metaphysics was only intellectual curiosity, until I worked with a young man on pain management. This client complained of a lifetime of chronic pain on his right side. One of the tools of hypnotherapy to manage pain is directing the subject to make the pain worse, so he or she can also learn to lessen the aching and thus acquire control. In one of our sessions involving pain intensification, this man used the imagery of being stabbed to recreate his torment. Searching for the origins of this image, I eventually uncovered his former life as a World War I soldier who was killed by a bayonet in France, and we were able to eliminate the pain altogether. With encouragement from some of my clients, I began to experiment with moving some of them further back in time, before their last birth on Earth.
Okay, so what he just said was his first, you know, experience with, the other side, the spirit realm, past lives, and all that was he had a client and he was like, I was against doing past life regressions and all that, and hypnotizing people and doing past life regressions because he didn't believe in all that. He was like, I'm the biggest skeptic myself. You know what I mean? Now he came up with all this, information and stuff, and he's like, man, I'm the biggest skeptic, that you can even think of. So he was like, I'm not even doing it, and then he accidentally did it. He was trying to get rid of that pain, wherever it was coming from, went to a past life, found out he got stabbed, removed that trauma, you know what I mean, and then removed the pain completely, and then he was like, oh, okay, it must be something real to this stuff, you know what I mean? So a whole past life is the reason why his physical body presently is having pain, forget a, oh, I fell, I hurt my, oh, I've been straining for years working this. No, there's nothing else making that specific spot hurt other than a past life incarnation karma that happened. Whatever you did and stuff, and, so that's how he started and got into the past lives in the spirit realm.
Initially, I was concerned that a subject's integration of current needs, beliefs, and fears would create fantasies of recollection. However, it didn't take long before I realized our deep-seated memories offer a set of past experiences which are too real and connected to be ignored. I came to appreciate just how therapeutically important the link is between the bodies and events of our former lives and who we are today. Then I stumbled onto a discovery of enormous proportions. I found it was possible to see into the spirit world through the mind's eye of a hypnotized subject who could report back to me of life between lives on Earth. The case that opened the door to the spirit world for me was a middle-aged woman who was an especially receptive hypnosis subject. She had been talking to me about her feelings of loneliness and isolation in that delicate stage when a subject has finished recalling their most recent past life. This unusual individual slipped into the highest state of altered consciousness almost by herself. Without realizing I had initiated an overly short command for this action, I suggested she go to the source of her loss of companionship. At the same moment, I inadvertently used one of the trigger words to spiritual recall. I also asked if she had a specific group of friends whom she missed. Suddenly, my client started to cry. When I directed her to tell me what was wrong, she blurted out, I miss some friends in my group, and that's why I get so lonely on Earth. I was confused and questioned her further about where this group of friends was actually located. Here, in my permanent home, she answered simply, and I'm looking at all of them right now. After finishing with this client and reviewing her tape recordings, I recognized that finding the spirit world involves an extension of past life regression. There are many books about past lives, but none I could find which told about our lives as souls, or how to properly access the spiritual recollections of people.
This is one of the only
I decided to do the research myself, and with practice, I acquired greater skill in entering the spirit world through my subjects. I also learned that finding their place in the spirit world was far more meaningful to people than recounting their former lives on Earth. How is it possible to reach the soul through hypnosis? Visualize the mind as having 3 concentric circles, each smaller than the last and within the other, separated only by layers of connected mind consciousness. The first outer layer is represented by the conscious mind, which is our critical, analytic reasoning source. The second layer is the subconscious, where we initially go in hypnosis to tap into the storage area for all the memories that ever happened to us in this life and former lives. The third, the innermost core, is what we are now calling the superconscious mind. This level exposes the highest center of self, where we are an expression of a higher power. The superconscious houses our real identity, augmented by the subconscious, which contains the memories of the many alter egos assumed by us in our former human bodies. The superconscious may not be a level at all, but the soul itself. The superconscious mind represents our highest center of wisdom and perspective, and all my information about life after death comes from this source of intelligent energy. How valid is the use of hypnosis for uncovering truth? People in hypnosis are neither dreaming nor hallucinating. We don't dream in chronological sequences, nor hallucinate in a directed trance state. When subjects are placed in trance, their brainwaves slow from the beta wake state and continue to change vibration down past the meditative alpha stage into various levels within the theta range. Theta is hypnosis, not sleep. When we sleep, we go to the final delta state, where messages from the brain are dropped into the subconscious and vented through our dreams. In theta, however, the conscious mind is not unconscious, so we are able to receive as well as send messages with all memory channels open. Once in hypnosis, people report the pictures they see and dialogue they hear in their unconscious minds as literal observations. In response to questions, subjects cannot lie.
So he's saying when they're under hypnosis, the reason he's able to get this information is because they're in a super conscious state. They're in the theta state, to where it's not like the delta with sleep, where your conscious mind is asleep and your subconscious still awake. With the theta, your subconscious is fully aware and all the channels are open, and your conscious mind is still aware too, so you can receive information from wherever the spirit realm, and you can report it back because you can consciously talk as if you're awake. So that's what he's just saying, that's the state they're in.
But they may misinterpret something seen in their unconscious mind, just as we do in the conscious state. In hypnosis, people have trouble relating to anything they don't believe is the truth. Some critics of hypnosis believe a subject in trance will fabricate memories and bias their responses in order to adopt any theoretical framework suggested by the hypnotist. I find this generalization to be a false premise. In my work, I treat each case as if I were hearing the information for the first time. If a subject was somehow able to overcome a hypnosis procedure and construct a deliberate fantasy about the spirit world, or free associate from preset ideas about their afterlife, these responses would soon become inconsistent with my other case reports.
Pause real quick. Another sidebar. So with all these cases, what he's kind of saying is, or he's probably about to say is, he's all the information is authentic. One, because I explained how hypnosis works. You're in that subconscious slash conscious state or whatever. And you can't lie because you just because you're in that state or whatever. And then uh, uh, I was about to say, damn, I forgot. Uh, oh yeah, he did thousands of cases, and he would act like it's like the first time, and he didn't know anything about the spirit realm, know anything about any other cases, and he would, ask questions as if he, didn't know, like if they're explaining, oh yeah, when I died, it was like this, or I seen this, or I was in this, part of the, spirit realm, and he's like, oh, so it was, and he'll purposely lie and say something opposite to what most people report, and they'll say, no, no, what are you talking about? Okay, I'm just checking, So he's got thousands of cases and stuff to where you could say, oh, okay, people are just making stuff up and they're just seeing what they want to see. Well, then why do thousands and thousands of people that he put under hypnosis when they're, out of their body and in the spirit realm, why do they explain the exact same settings, the exact same types of thing, everything all adds up, you know what I mean? There's pretty much little to no variation into what every single person reports, you know what I mean? So that's how, it's pretty much solidified and you know it's true if how things, it's just, so that works.
I learned the value of careful cross-examination early in my work, and I found no evidence of anyone faking their spiritual experiences to please me. In fact, subjects in hypnosis are not hesitant in correcting my misinterpretations of their statements. As my case files grew, I discovered by trial and error to phrase questions about the spirit world in a proper sequence. Subjects in a superconscious state are not particularly motivated to volunteer information about the whole plan of soul life in the spirit world. One must have the right set of keys for specific doors. Eventually, I was able to perfect a reliable method of memory access to different parts of the spirit world by knowing which door to open at the right time during a session. As I gained confidence with each session, more people sensed I was comfortable with the hereafter and felt it was all right to speak to me about it. The clients in my cases represent some men and women who were very religious, while others had no particular spiritual beliefs at all. Most fall somewhere in between, with a mixed bag of personal philosophies about life. The astounding thing I found as I progressed with my research was that once subjects were regressed back into their soul state, they all displayed a remarkable consistency in responding to questions about the spirit world. People even used the same words and graphic descriptions in colloquial language when discussing their lives as souls. However, this homogeneity of experience by so many clients did not stop me from continually trying to verify statements between my subjects and corroborate specific functional activities of souls. There were some differences in narrative reporting between cases, but this was due more to the level of soul development than to variances in how each subject basically saw the spirit world. The research was painfully slow, but as the body of my cases grew, I finally had a working model of the eternal world where our souls live. I found thoughts about the spirit world would involve universal truths among the souls of people living on Earth. It was these perceptions by so many different types of people which convinced me their statements were believable. I am not a religious person, but I found the place where we go after death to be one of order and direction, and I have come to appreciate that there is a grand design to life and afterlife. When I considered how best to present my findings, I determined the case study method would provide the most descriptive way in which the reader could evaluate client recall about the afterlife. Each case I have selected represents a direct dialogue between myself and the subject. The case testimonies are taken from tape recordings from my sessions. This book is not intended to be about my subjects' past lives, but rather a documentation of their experiences in the spirit world relating to those lives. For readers who may have trouble conceptualizing our souls as non-material objects, the case histories listed in the early chapters explain how souls appear and the way in which they function. Each case history is abbreviated to some extent because of space constraints, and to give the reader an orderly arrangement of soul activity. The chapters are designed to show the normal progression of souls into and out of the spirit world, incorporated with other spiritual information. The travels of souls from the time of death to their next incarnation has come to me from over 30 years of life between lives hypnotherapy. The travels of souls from the time of death to their next incarnation has engaged my studies since the 1970s, growing with each decade. However, most of the LBL cases in this book were collected within the past 10 years. It surprised me at first that I had people who remembered parts of their soul life more clearly after distant lifetimes than recent ones. Yet, for some reason, no one subject was able to recall the entire chronology of soul activities I have presented in this book. My clients remember certain aspects of their spiritual life quite vividly, while others' experiences are hazy to them. As a result, even with these 29 cases, I found I could not give the reader the full range of information I have gathered about the spirit world. Thus, my chapters contain details from more cases than just the 29 listed. The reader may consider my questioning in certain cases to be rather demanding. In hypnosis, it is necessary to keep the subject on track. When working in the spiritual realm, the demands on a facilitator are higher than with past life recall. In trance, the average subject tends to let his or her soul mind wander while watching interesting scenes unfold. My clients often want me to stop talking so they can detach from reporting what they see and just enjoy their past experiences as souls. I try to be gentle and not overly structured, but my sessions are usually single ones, which run 3 hours in length, and there is a lot to cover. People may come long distances to see me and not be able to return. I find it very rewarding to watch the look of wonder on a client's face when his or her session ends. For those of us who have had the opportunity to actually see our immortality, a new depth of self-understanding and empowerment emerges. Before awakening my subjects, I often implant appropriate post-suggestion memories. Having a conscious knowledge of their soul life in the spirit world and a history of physical existences on planets gives these people a stronger sense of direction and energy for life. Finally, I should say that what you are about to read may come as a shock to your preconceptions about death. The material presented here may go against your philosophical and religious beliefs. There will be those readers who will find support for their existing opinions. For others, the information offered in these cases will all appear to be subjective tales, resembling a science fiction story. Whatever your persuasion, I hope you will reflect upon the implications for humanity if what my subjects have to say about life after death is accurate. 1. Death.
Here we go. I'm about to get into it. He about to start. So now the book is gonna go. It's just gonna be dialogue between him and the subjects / patients, clients, and he's gonna be, talking to them, exactly what happens, when they die and all this stuff. So, yeah. So you in for a ride, man. You're gonna be. It's a lot of stuff. Like if you don't think you've been, male and female, you in for a treat. It's a whole lot of some live stuff be happening. It's this one chick. She used to be a Viking. She said she was extremely swole. She used to go around just conquer nations and all that. She said she was like super strong and powerful. Never got sick. They would just go fight and do wars and just have sex with women, sometimes, not willingly, and, that's why he say a lot of times they'll be stopping them and just, because they'll be really reliving that, past life or whatever, and, they really like that body that they had. So they be like, hold on, let me just, oh, I feel so powerful right now. Oh, da da da. Oh, I love my beard. I used to always love, some people had lives to where, 75% of their incarnations, they had the same goatee mustache or something. Some people even had the same names, all types of crazy stuff, you know what I mean? So you about to learn a whole lot on what goes on with the soul, you know what I mean? Because just like you said, we know it exists, but what is really going on? It's structure to this shit, and we need to learn and know what exactly goes on, and how it's all organized and, it ain't just, oh yeah, we go to the spirit realm and it's all da da da. Like, no. What exactly is going on? Like, there's a science to everything, It's structured and it's, you're going to learn all about this. So here we go.
And departure.
Case 1.
Case 1. Subject. Oh my God. I'm not really dead, am I? I mean, my body is dead. I can see it below me, but I'm floating. I can look down and see my body lying flat in the hospital bed. Everyone around me thinks I'm dead, but I'm not. I want to shout, hey, I'm not really dead. This is so incredible. The nurses are pulling a sheet over my head. People I know are crying. I'm supposed to be dead, but I'm still alive. It's strange because my body is absolutely dead while I'm moving around it from above. I'm alive. These are the words spoken by a man in deep hypnosis, reliving a death experience. His words come in...
Off rip. So boom, first thing we learn, hey, you're eternal. Sorry. Deal with it. You're here. Woke up, said, looking down, there's my body. I'm dead. But I'm still alive. What's going on?
Short, excited bursts, and are full of awe, as he sees and feels what it is to be like, to be a spirit newly separated from a physical body. This man is my client, and I have just assisted him in recreating a past life death scene, while he lies back in a comfortable recliner chair. A little earlier, following my instructions during his trance induction, this subject was age regressed in a return to childhood memories. His subconscious perceptions gradually coalesced as we worked together to reach his mother's womb. I then prepared him for a jump back into the mists of time by the visual use of protective shielding. When we completed this important step of mental conditioning, I moved my subject through an imaginary time tunnel to his last life on Earth. It was a short life because he had died suddenly from the influenza epidemic of 1918. As the initial shock of seeing himself die and feeling his soul floating out of his body begins to wear off a little, my client adjusts more readily to the visual images in his mind. Since a small part of the conscious critical portion of his mind is still functioning, he realizes he is recreating a former experience. It takes a bit longer than usual, since this subject is a younger soul, and not so used to the cycles of birth, death, and rebirth, as are many of my other clients. Yet, within a few moments, he settles in and begins to respond with greater confidence to my questions.
Now, you heard that? He snuck that in there like it was just regular. He said my client was a younger soul. So, yeah. Boom, another thing we learned. We all got souls, right? But, yeah, what's really... Everybody ain't the same age out here. Everybody ain't the same age. You got young souls and you got older souls. Your soul had time of birth, you know what I'm saying? It was a time, chronologically where you was born and some people was born before you and people born after, It wasn't just boom, big bang, and all souls are born and then everybody's all, No, that's why you have some people that are actually old souls and some people, that are younger souls. So, boom, there we go.
I quickly raised this subject's subconscious hypnotic level into the superconscious state. Now he is ready to talk to me about the spirit world, and I ask him what is happening to him. Subject. Well, I'm rising up higher, still floating, looking back at my body. It's like watching a movie, only I'm in it. The doctor is comforting my wife and daughter. My wife is sobbing. Subject wiggles with discomfort in his chair. I'm trying to reach into her mind, to tell her everything is all right with me. She is so overcome by grief, I'm not getting through. I want her to know my suffering is gone. I'm free of my body. I don't need it anymore, that I will wait for her. I want her to know that. But she is not listening to me. Oh, I'm moving away now. And so, guided by a series of commands, my client starts the process of moving further into the spirit world. It is a road many others have traveled in the security of my office. Typically, as memories in the superconscious state expand, subjects in hypnosis become more connected to the spiritual passageway. As the session moves forward, the subject's mental pictures are more easily translated into words. Short, descriptive phrases lead to detailed explanations of what it is like to enter the spirit world. We have a great deal of documentation.
All right, so what it's like to enter the spirit world. What it's like to enter the spirit world.
Including observations from medical personnel, which describes the out-of-body near-death experiences of people severely injured in accidents. These people were considered clinically dead before medical efforts brought them back from the other side. Souls are quite capable of leaving and returning to their host bodies, particularly in life-threatening situations when the body is dying. People tell of hovering over their bodies, especially in hospitals, watching doctors perform life-saving procedures on them. In time, these memories fade after they return to life. In the early stages of hypnosis regression into past lives, the descriptions of subjects mentally going through their past deaths do not contradict the reported statements of people who have actually died in this life for a few minutes. The difference between these two groups of people is that subjects in hypnosis are not remembering their experiences of temporary death. People in a deep trance state are capable of describing what life is like after permanent physical death. What are the similarities of afterlife recollection between people reporting on their out-of-body experiences as a result of a temporary physical trauma and a subject in hypnosis recalling death in a past life? Both find themselves floating around their bodies in a strange way, trying to touch solid objects which dematerialize in front of them. Both kinds of reporters say they are frustrated in their attempts to talk to living people who don't respond. Both state they feel a pulling sensation away from the place where they died, and experience relaxation and curiosity rather than fear. All these people report a euphoric sense of freedom and brightness around them. Some of my subjects see brilliant whiteness totally surrounding them at the moment of death, while others observe the brightness as farther away from an area of darker space through which they are being pulled. This is often referred to as the tunnel effect, and has become well known with the public. My second case will take us further into the death experience than case one. The subject here is a man in his 60s describing to me the events of his death as a young woman called Sally, who was killed by Kiowa Indians in an attack on a wagon train in 1866. Although this case and the last one relate death experiences after their most immediate past lives, a particular death date in history has no special relevance because it is recent. I find no significant differences between ancient and modern times in terms of graphic spirit world recall or the quality of lessons learned. I should also say the average subject in trance has an uncanny ability to zero in on the dates and geographic locations of many past lives. This is true even in earlier periods of human civilization, when national borders and place names were different than exist today. Former names, dates, and locations may not always be easily recalled in every past life, but descriptions about returning to the spirit world and life in that world are consistently vivid. The scene in case 2 opens on the American Southern Plains right after an arrow has struck Sally in the neck at close range. I am always careful with death scenes involving violent trauma in past lives, because the subconscious mind often still retains these experiences. The subject in this case came to me because of a lifetime of throat discomfort. Release therapy and deprogramming is usually required in these cases. In all past life recall, I use the time around death for quiet review and place the subject in observer status to soften pain and emotion. Case 2. Dr. N. Are you in great pain from the arrow? Subject. Yes. The point has torn my throat. I'm dying. Subject begins to whisper while holding his hands at the throat. I'm choking. Blood pouring down. Will, husband, is holding me. The pain. Terrible. I'm getting out now. It's over anyway. Note. Souls often leave their human hosts moments before actual death, when their bodies are in great pain. Who can blame them? Nevertheless, they do stay close by the dying body. After calming techniques, I raise this subject from the subconscious to the superconscious level for the transition to spiritual memories. Dr. N. All right, Sally. You have accepted being killed by these Indians. Will you please describe to me the exact sensation you feel at the time of death? Subject. Like a force of some kind, pushing me up out of my body. Dr. N. Pushing you? Out where? Subject.
Alright, so here we go. So we got this man in here with pain in his neck, right? He came to the author for a healing, he just wanted to do a session and heal the pain in his neck, try and go in his, mind, subconscious or whatever, and find out where the pain is coming from. And he ended up going to one of his past lives that when he was a female, I think he said, in the 1800s, I think like 1866, he was a female named Sally. She got shot in the neck with an arrow in an Indian raid. And so this is what happened right now as she's dying, and with everything that's about to happen, what she's about to see, and where she's about to go. So check it out.
I'm ejected out the top of my head. Dr. N. And what was pushed out?
So she just said, she just died, and he's saying, what are you feeling? She said, I was ejected out the top of my head. That means, your soul left through probably your crown chakra. You came out, boom, through her crown. Matter of fact, it's probably very much the case because, your chakras are all, you got chakras, they go, most people probably don't know unless you have a front and a back of your chakra, you know what I'm saying? So it's spinning clockwise this way and then counterclockwise that way. Each chakra pushes out energy and pulls in energy, you know what I mean? And then the crown chakra is the only chakra that's pointed up, it connects you to the universe. It's the only one that's opened up like a flower or whatever, so that would make sense where you, boom, when you popping out your crown chakra. Everything is moving up.
Subject. Well, me. Dr. N. Describe what me means. What does the thing that is you look like going out of the head of your body? Subject. Pause. Like a pinpoint of light. Radiating. Dr. N. How do you radiate light? Subject. From my energy. I look sort of transparent white. My soul. Dr. N. And does this energy light stay the same after leaving your body? Subject. Pause. I seem to grow a little as I move around. Dr. N. If your light expands, then what do you look like now? Subject. wispy string hanging? Dr. N. And what does the process of moving out of your body actually feel like to you? Subject. Well, it's as if I shed my skin, peeling a banana. I just lose my body in one swoosh. Dr. N. Is the feeling unpleasant? Subject. Oh, no. It's wonderful to feel so free with no more pain, but I am disoriented. I didn't expect to die. Sadness is creeping into my client's voice, and I want him to stay focused on his soul for a minute more, rather than what is taking place on the ground with his body. Dr. N. I understand, Sally. You are feeling a little displacement at the moment as a soul. This is normal in your situation for what you have just gone through. Listen and respond to my questions. You said you were floating. Are you able to move around freely right after death? Subject. It's strange. It's as if I'm suspended in air that isn't air. There are no limits. No gravity. I'm weightless. Dr. N. You mean it's sort of like being in a vacuum for you? Subject. Yes. Nothing around me is a solid mass. There are no obstacles to bump into. I'm drifting. Dr. N. Can you control your movements? Where are you going? Subject. Yes, I can do some of that, but there is a pulling into a bright whiteness. It's so bright. Dr. N. Is the intensity of whiteness the same everywhere? Subject. Brighter away from me. It's a little darker white, gray, in the direction of my body. Starts to cry. Oh, my poor body. I'm not ready to leave yet. Subject pulls back in his chair as if he is resisting something. Dr. N. It's all right, Sally. I'm with you. I want you to relax and tell me if the force that took you out of your head at the moment of death is still pulling you away, and if you can stop it. Subject. Pause. When I was free of my body, the pulling lessened. Now, I feel a nudge, drawing me away from my body. I don't want to go yet, but something wants me to go soon. Dr. N. I understand, Sally, but I suspect you are learning that you have some element of control. How would you describe this thing that is pulling you? Subject. Kind of magnetic force, but I want to stay a little longer. Dr. N. Can your soul resist this pulling sensation for as long as you want? Subject. There is a long pause while the subject appears to be carrying on an internal debate with himself in his former life as Sally. Yes, I can if I really want to stay. Subject starts to cry. Oh, it's awful what those savages did to my body. There's blood all over my pretty blue dress. My husband Will is trying to hold me and still fight with our friends against the Kiowa. Note, I reinforce the imagery of a protective shield around this subject, which is so important as a foundation to calming procedures. Sally's soul is still hovering over her body after I move the scene forward in time to when the Indians are driven off by the wagon train rifles. Dr. N. Sally, what is your husband doing right after the attack? Subject. Oh, good. He isn't hurt, but with sadness, is holding my body, crying over me. There's nothing he can do for me, but he doesn't seem to realize that yet. I'm cold, but his hands are around my face, kissing me. Dr. N. And what are you doing at this moment? Subject. I'm over Will's head. I'm trying to console him. I want him to feel my love is not really gone. I want him to know that he has not lost me forever and that I will see him again. Dr. N. Are your messages getting through? Subject. There is so much grief, but he feels my essence. I know it. Our friends are around him, and they separate us finally. They want to reform the wagons and get started again. Dr. N. And what is going on now with your soul? Subject. I'm still resisting the pulling sensation. I want to stay. Dr. N. Why is that? Subject. Well, I know I'm dead, but I'm not ready to leave Will yet, and I want to watch them bury me. Dr. N. Do you see or feel any other spiritual entity around you at this moment?
So, what she just said was she just passed away, whatever, and she's saying she wants to stick around until the burial. So, this is why you might see quote unquote ghosts or stuff like that, or most people after they die, he says most stick around for a little bit and make sure that their loved ones are good before they go back upstairs and get ready for their next incarnation. So, you see how he's saying, oh, Sally, she's a little sad, whatever, and, because, just like your family is sad when you die, the souls, even though everything's all good, it don't really have no, negative emotions like that, there's still, a little sadness, whatever, just because, you miss those people too a little bit, but it's not the same as how they're physically feeling sadness, it's different.
Subject. Pause. They are near. Soon I will see them. I feel their love as I want Will to feel mine. They are waiting until I am ready. Dr. N. As time passes, are you able to comfort Will? Subject. I'm trying to reach inside his mind. Dr. N. And are you successful? Subject. Pause. I think a little. It heals me. It realizes love. Dr. N. All right, Sally. Now we are going to move forward in relative time again. Do you see your wagon train friends placing your body in some kind of grave? Subject. Voice is more confident. Yes, they have buried me. It's time for me to go. They are coming for me now. I'm moving into a brighter light. Contrary to what some people believe, souls often have little interest in what happens to their bodies once they are physically dead. This is not callousness over personal situations and the people they leave behind on earth, but an acknowledgement of these souls to the finality of mortal death. They have a desire to hurry on their way to the beauty of the spirit world. However, many other souls want to hover around the place where they died for a few Earth days, usually until after their funerals. Time is apparently accelerated for souls, and days on Earth may be only minutes to them. There are a variety of motivations for the lingering soul. For instance, someone who has been murdered or killed unexpectedly in an accident often does not want to leave right away. I find these souls are frequently bewildered or angry. The hovering soul syndrome is particularly true of deaths with young people. To abruptly detach from a human form, even after a long illness, is still a jolt to the average soul, and this too may make the soul reluctant to depart at the moment of death. There is also something symbolic about the normal 3 to 5 day funeral arrangement periods for souls. Souls really have no morbid curiosity to see themselves buried, because emotions in the spirit world are not the same as we experience here on Earth. Yet I find soul entities appreciate the respect given to the memory of their physical life by surviving relatives and friends. As we saw in the last case, there is one basic reason for many spirits not wanting to immediately leave the place of their physical death. This comes from a desire to mentally reach out, to comfort loved ones before progressing further into the spirit world. Those who have just died are not devastated about their death, because they know those left on Earth will see them again in the spirit world, and probably later in other lives as well. On the other hand, mourners at a funeral generally feel they have lost a loved one forever. During hypnosis, my subjects do recall frustration at being unable.
So you see, so break down what he just said. So souls pretty much stick around for like a couple Earth days. That's the norm for souls. Because he said they supposed to go back up right after death. Because they don't really after you die, your soul again. You don't really you're not really worried about your physical body too much. You know what I mean? But souls low key stick around because he said on Earth, they kind of fuck with the funeral services. They respect that we take time out and give a whole lot of attention to people's lives and and their death and they really respect it. So they stick around and really like watching people honor them and in the lives they live and stuff like that and then especially while they're sticking down here because they want to as well look out for and make sure they loved ones is cool before they go back up and shit because like he said time is different as well. You gotta switch your lenses, you know what I mean? Tap into that soul has been here forever, and will be here forever. So it's not the same sadness, right? He's not sad. He's like, man, I've been in all your past lives. I didn't see you saying you crying over here at my funeral service. I appreciate it, and I want to stick around to see it. Damn, my casket is dope as fuck, but yeah, I miss y'all. I'm gonna miss y'all, but I'm gonna see you again. So why am I? I'm not gonna cry. I'm not really. I don't see y'all again. So it's just like done for right now. And then time is different. Like he said, a couple days on Earth is like a couple minutes up there. You know what I mean? So your soul will take those few days. To be either been like, and you're like, oh oh he's sticking around. Oh he's a ghost. Oh he's stuck here. It's like nah, he just you know to him he didn't only took an extra 5-10 minutes. You know, staying down here before he went back up to the spirit realm. As opposed to how we thinking, oh, it's been days and weeks or whatever. So they don't. The thinking, it's different. Obviously, the soul is a whole nother being. Your true self, your true soul, or whatever. So they don't look at things the same.
To effectively use their energy to mentally touch a human being who is unreceptive due to shock and grief. Emotional trauma of the living may overwhelm their inner minds to such an extent that their mental capabilities to communicate with souls are inhibited. When a newly departed soul does find a way to give solace to the living, however briefly, they usually are satisfied and want to then move on quickly away from Earth's astral plane. I had a typical example of spiritual consolation in my own life. My mother died suddenly from a heart attack. During her burial service, my sister and I were so filled with sadness, our minds were numb at the ceremony. A few hours later, we returned to my mother's empty house with our spouses and decided to take a needed rest. My sister and I must have reached the receptive alpha state at about the same time. Appearing in 2 separate rooms, my mother came through our subconscious minds as a dreamlike brush of whiteness above our heads. Reaching out, she smiled, indicating her acceptance of death and current well-being. Then she floated away. Lasting only seconds, this act was a meaningful form of closure, causing both of us to release into a sound sleep of the Delta state. We are capable of feeling the comforting presence of the souls of lost loved ones, especially during or right after funerals. For spiritual communication to come through the shock of mourning, it is necessary to try to relax and clear your mind, at least for short periods. At these moments, our receptivity to a paranormal experience is more open to receive positive communications of love, forgiveness, hope, encouragement, and the reassurance your loved one is in a good place. When a widow with young children says to me, "A part of my husband comes to me during the difficult times," I believe her. My clients tell me as souls, they are able to help those on Earth connect their inner minds to the spirit world itself. As it has been wisely said, people are not really gone as long as they are remembered by those left on Earth. In the chapters ahead, we will see how specific memory is a reflection of our own soul. while collective memories are the atoms of pure energy for all souls. Death does not break our continuity with the immortal soul of those we love, simply because they've lost the physical personhood of a mortal body. Despite their many activities, these departed souls are still able to reach us if called upon. Occasionally, a disturbed spirit does not want to leave the earth after physical death. This is due to some unresolved problem which has had a severe impact on its consciousness. In these abnormal cases, help is available from higher caring entities who can assist in the adjustment process from the other side. We also have the means to aid disturbed spirits in letting go on earth as well. I will have more to say about troubled souls in Chapter 4, but the enigma of ghosts portrayed in books and movies has been greatly overblown. How should we best prepare for our own death? Our lives may be short or long, healthy or sick, but there comes that time when we all must meet death in a way suited for us. If we have had a long illness leading to death, there is time to adequately prepare the mind once initial shock, denial, and depression have passed. The mind takes a shortcut through this sort of progression when we face death suddenly. As the end of our physical life draws near, each of us has the capacity to fuse with our higher consciousness. Dying is the easiest period in our lives for spiritual awareness, when we can sense our soul is connected to the eternity of time. Although there are dying people who find acceptance to be more difficult than resignation, caregivers working around the dying say most everyone acquires a peaceful detachment near the end. I believe dying people are given access to a supreme knowledge of eternal consciousness, and this frequently shows in their faces. Many of these people realize something universal is out there waiting, and it will be good. Dying people are undergoing a metamorphosis of separation by their souls from an adopted body. People associate death as losing our life force, when actually the opposite is true. We forfeit our body in death, but our eternal life energy unites with the force of a divine oversoul. Death is not darkness, but light. My clients say after recalling former death experiences, they are so filled with rediscovered freedom from their earthbound bodies that they are anxious to get started on their spiritual journey to a place of peace and familiarity. In the cases which follow, we will learn what life is like for them in afterlife. 2.
All right, so I think I might just do about the chapter. That was the first chapter, you know what I mean? They went through a couple cases and showed us what it was like in the spirit realm. You know, we had a case of the dude, you know, Sally, the arrow in his neck, which was a past life. That was the reason why he had pain, you know, in his present life. You know, he was talking about the length of time that souls stay behind, you know, the length of time that, you know, they stay here before they go back up, you know, a couple days, you know, maybe the funeral service. If you're staying any longer than that, it's most likely an abnormal case, not the norm, to where you're attached to something. And that's where you get ghosts and all that. You down here because you're attached to something that you don't want to leave behind. You're not ready to leave behind yet. And he didn't mention really, but he will eventually, that you got at least one or two spirit guides slash angels slash, you know, that come down when you do die, you know, and then take you back up. You know, you got guides. That's where the spirit guides come from. That's one of their jobs. You know, they come down here, boom, hey, what's up? You're dead. Time to go. If you're like, hey, oh no, I was, you know, you didn't know nothing spiritual, you died abruptly, probably you were real young or something, it's most likely the case where you most definitely probably are like, no, I'm not ready to go yet. And how the spirit realm works is, he'll get into, there's a lot of orders. So how it works is your spirit guides that are in charge of you, they drop down, hey, it's time to go. Boom. No. You're like a little kid. No. They're like, all right, go ahead. You know, there's free will. You know, they ain't going to force you to do nothing. That's not how it works, you know. So that's your free will. You get to stay down here as long as you want. You know what I mean? But you can't stay down here forever, you know. You're not supposed to. So when that's the case, they do have their ways of coming down here and convincing you, persuading you to come back up. You know what I mean? And yeah. So what else did he talk about? You know, they'll after they pass on, they'll do things like, if you see anything, oh, that picture on the wall moved, or you knocked the glass off the table. Your loved ones will do something like that paranormal to get your attention, to let you know they're still all right. If you see anything paranormal, they're just trying to get your attention. You know what I'm saying? Probably a past relative is just trying to, say, hey, everything's all good. Because, like you said, they're just trying to comfort, make sure y'all good. But, if they move that vase over there on the dresser, you'll associate that with something paranormal, spiritual. Like, hey, that couldn't have been anything but, a ghost or whatever. Oh, Dave just died. Oh, that must be Dave. Oh, they know that's the pathways that your thoughts will take. So that's why that happens. That's why you have that phenomenon. You know, yeah, what else do you talk about? Yeah, different genders, past lives. Or now I'll probably get into, I'll just, spoiler alert. Your soul, what he found was incarnates into different, shit. While we're on it, what can you incarnate different planets, different solar systems? Yes, Earth isn't the only planet people are incarnating on. All throughout the galaxy, all throughout the solar system. You know what I mean? Humanoid-like beings. Animals and humans don't have the same souls, same types of souls or whatever. But everything that has organic life, has a soul. All animals, insects, they just have a different type of soul that he'll get into and explain. It's like a less complex type of soul. You know what I mean? But there's separate souls for animals and separate souls for uh, humans. Uh, but there are cases where you can be animals and stuff like that, and vice versa, whatever. But it's just a certain way that happens and stuff like that. Certain cases or whatever that he'll explain. But yeah, it's not just it's extremely. There's a whole lot of complexity to how it works up there. It's a whole lot of organization and order as well. But yes, great thing. So that was chapter one. We'll get into the second one next time. Right now, get ready to chant. It's full moon. I'm gonna put Dr. Palam so we can listen to him and chant with him. Um, and yeah, if you got any Shreem Brzee papers or anything like that, I got mine, and I'm gonna see if I can burn them. I want to burn them. Burning them helps really well. If you write anything down that you're trying to manifest, and then you burn it, transmutes that energy. Faster. Burning it chemically changes it and sends those manifestations up to the ether, makes it manifest that much faster. So burning things you want to manifest is good. So that's why they do those fire rituals. You know. So if you got Shreem Brzee you wrote down, or anything manifestations you wrote down and you want to manifest that you want to burn, grab those. But yeah, I'm gonna go get ready. Y'all get ready to chant. I'm gonna be right back. Oh, them kids, yeah, they about to start an earthquake. All right. All right. That's it. Hmm. All right. All right. I don't know if y'all see the setup back here, but try to bring out the guns. It's the Shreem Brzee yantra. That's my little Shreem Brzee setup back there. All right. Got the Shreem Brzees burning. All right, let's go. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Shreem Brzee, 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 Shreem Brzee. 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 Shreem Brzee, 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 Shreem Brzee.
You say what?
Shreem Brzee, 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 Shreem Brzee. 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 Shreem Brzee.
And done. All right. So, just gonna wrap it up right there. I think that's a good little amount. I'll go live later again, probably sometime not too long from now. So we'll get another chanting session in. But yeah, that was a good 25 minutes right there. So if we chanted Shreem Brzee about like, let's say 180, if we chanted like, it's probably around, usually takes 108 Shreem Brzees takes about like, about 8 minutes. So 25 minutes, probably like say 3-4 sets of Shreem Brzees off. That's like 400 Shreem Brzees we chanted. It was around at least 3 people in here the whole time consistently with me. So that times 4 people, 400 times 4, that's like 1,600 right there that everybody would benefit from. So powerful. So yeah, thank y'all for chanting with me. Stop in and on the next one coming soon. Love y'all. Peace.